What's up, everyone? Kevin from Epic Gardening here. It's kind of a different episode today because I want to show you what I'm getting for the first half of 2019, and we're on none other than Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, aka Rare Seeds. So let's go ahead and get to it. There's some really awesome things that I'm growing this year that I'm super excited for, and I want to know if you've grown anything that's similar. So let me know in the comments if there's anything you've grown of this list. So first of all, we're going to start it off. We have Mizuno Benny Houshi. I've actually grown this one before, but it's so beautiful. It is so incredible that I just had to grow it again. And so it's a new vibrant twist on an ancient crop, and the bright purple stems set it apart from any other Mizuna. And I've found that to be true. It's one of the most beautiful looking Mizunas that I've ever seen. I mean, even for a colored variety, the contrast between that purple and that green is incredible, and it's got a lot of anthocyanin. That's why it's purple. That's the same antioxidant that's found in blueberries. So I figured if I'm going to grow Mizuna, I might as well grow something that has a little bit more of that antioxidant property, a little bit more of those nutrients. So why not? So Mizuno Benny Houshi is numero uno. Number two, kind of staying with the theme here, we have red Ursa Kale. I grow a lot of kale. Most of the time, it's either lacinato or dinosaur-style kale or just a standard curly kale. This time I figured, why not spice it up? This is from Portugal, Germany, and China, and it's basically, I mean, the thing that's interesting to me about this kale, if we view large here, is look how many sort of offshoots from the main stem there are. These sections of the plant are much thicker than you would normally see. I mean, a normal kales that I'm used to have a very prominent main stem, and the offshoots aren't as prominent, especially because they're not as colored. So really interesting one. Look at this. He crossed a Siberian kale with a red Russian kale to form what is now the red Ursa. These two are extremely popular kales. Siberian and red Russian are super popular. So I don't know. The red Ursa, I'm excited for it. All right, the next one I think you're going to be really excited for because I personally am too. The Luffa. This is not edible. We are growing our own dishcloths this year, guys. So in 1988, Burpee Catalog said, a natural dishcloth and a most admirable one. Many people prefer this as a dishcloth. The fruit grows to about 2 inches. The vine is ornamental, and I had a lot of people comment, send me messages on Instagram and everything saying, hey, are you growing Luffa? Have you seen this Luffa? And so I put it on my Christmas list. I got a Luffa, and then I said, I have to grow this thing. So if you guys have grown, that English, if you guys have grown the Luffa, let me know because I have yet to grow it, and I'm really excited. All right, our next one. Boom. We have Lil GM Lettuce. That little gem. I've grown this before, but it's so cute. I mean, look at how small. This is a full harvest. Look at how small it is. These are like little handheld lettuces that you can just sort of crunch away in. It's a very delicious one, and it's heat tolerant. So for me, I'm right now in the best season for growing greens here in San Diego. So it's Zone 10B. Our quote-unquote winter is basically most people's, fall, early spring. That's our winter. So that, to me, is perfect for growing greens, so I can't wait to get these in the ground. Next, we've got the Huckleberry. So I've tried this. It's a solanum-style fruit, so you have to wait until these are fully ripe or else they're not edible. So there can't be any green on them at all. So like the ones in the back here. Look at these ones in the back. Do not eat. But the ones in the front, they are good to go. So huge yields. Fruit all summer long, absolutely delicious. You kind of grow them like a pepper, so that's pretty easy. I know how to grow peppers pretty well, so I'm really excited for that. Boom, next one. I think you can see the theme here. Weird, unique colors is what I'm looking at for 2019. This is a chard I've never grown. I've grown rainbow chard, I've grown rhubarb chard, I've grown standard Swiss chard. I have yet to grow Oriole Orange Swiss chard. Look at the vein. Look at that. That just looks so beautiful. It's sort of like an egg yolk orange, I think you could say, named for the Oriole bird. So hopefully that one's going to go well for me. All right, next one. We have, look at this. Now, this right here, this first picture, this is what stood out to me. This color on this lettuce, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to grow that. So it's called Sanguine Ameliore or strawberry cabbage lettuce. Look at this. This unique 19th century French heirloom was introduced to America by C.C. Morse in 1906 under the name strawberry cabbage. The small cabbage or butterhead type plants are quite charming, with green leaves that are splashed in scarlet red as if a red rain fell upon them. I don't want any red rain falling upon my lettuce, so I'm happy that this looks like it without having that happen. So that one's going to be really cool. Next, we have Batavian Full Heart Endive. So I really like Endive or Endive, however you say that. It's one of my favorite greens, actually, but the one that I normally grow is Endive de Louvière, so I can show you that one if you want. So this is what I normally grow, and I just like that frilly look. It just looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's weird because it almost looks like a weed. If you forget or you accidentally scatter seeds somewhere, you might think it's some sort of weed because of the way that it grows. But this year I'm going to be mixing it up, and we're going to be growing the Full Heart. This was an AAS winner in 1934, guys. So if you guys have grown this particular endive, let me know. Okay, this one I'm really excited for. There are so many different types of interesting Chinese greens that I'd like to experiment with, and I think the owner of Baker Creek went to China this year and just came back with some crazy stuff like this Chinese multicolor spinach, a heat and drought tolerant green. So that's what I'm looking for in my climate. Heat, drought tolerant. If I can water it less and if it can stand up to the heat as a leafy green, I'm going to be in really good shape because I'm in zone 10B. So that's what I have to do. Leaf amaranth. It's popular in Asia, eaten raw, stir-fried, or steamed. This is by far the most tender and sweet amaranth for edible greens. So I have not, besides microgreens, and I do have a video on amaranth microgreens, I haven't grown amaranth and eaten it as a green past that microgreen stage. So I'm super excited for that. The go-to green for midsummer when all others have bolted. Boom, that's what you need. And here, my greens bolt like crazy, even in spring sometimes. So that's what I need. All right, our next one, Hida Beni red turnip. As you know, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been doing a lot of root crop stuff. Mostly radishes and purple top turnips, but I'm going to mix it up, and we're going to do a little bit of extra turnip action. And look at that cross-section. That cross-section is amazing. You have the speckled red, and then you have sort of the, I guess you could say that classic sort of turnip or radish color striation where everything sort of steams towards the middle. So it looks beautiful, very crisp, and I wanted a salad turnip and not necessarily one that would be better for pickling or preservation. I wanted one that I could actually eat in its natural form, and what really stood out to me is it says, these are cultivated mainly in Takayama City, Japan. I've been to Takayama City, Japan, and I wasn't really into gardening back then. It was almost 10 years ago, but it kind of is cool because I get to bring some of Takayama back to my garden, and that's what I'm really excited about. All right, so our next one is going to be, okay, this one's crazy. I don't even know really what it is. I just had to instantly buy it because, that's just how I am. If there's one thing I blow money on, it's seeds, guys, and it's plants. So if there's something you bought you're like, I just need to buy this, let me know in the comments down below because I'm really curious. Anyways, so Job's Tears. Is it an herb? Is it a grain? A vegetable? Or an ornamental bead? This easy-to-grow plant is all these things and more. With graceful and flowing miniature corn-type bladed leaves, sturdy stalks, and delicate, inconspicuous, drooping flowers, Job's Tears adds a stunning green filler to cut flower displays. So it looks like you can use this for quite a few things. It says it's great in brothy dishes and traditional Asian drinks. Chewy, mildly sweet, and earthy flavor that has caught the eye of discerning cooks. Okay, look at this. It has lovingly been called by cookbook authors the next cult gluten-free grain. So, hey, get on the trend before everyone else does. And an unusual, versatile, beneficial little weirdo. That sounds like something I would say. Okay, let's take a look at it up close. Job's Tears. What's crazy to me is the way that they sort of mature. These flower buds seem to have a crazy differentiation in their color. So I'm really, really excited. I would love to know if any of you have grown this because I didn't even know about it before I saw it in the catalog. All right, our next one, Malabar Spinach. So I got this recommendation from John Kohler when he came over to my house. He said, hey, why aren't you growing Malabar Spinach, man? In his John Kohler voice. So it's not a spinach. It's Bacella rubra, so it's not a true spinach. But it loves the heat, and it's going to go crazy in my climate like we talked about. Zone 10B, the greens I need to grow need to be heat tolerant, bolt resistant in that heat. Otherwise, I'm just going to have some pretty sad looking greens, or I'm just going to have to dedicate a specific part of my garden to, those shady greens that are a little more sensitive. But I figured this year, why not play with my climate and just go straight in on those heat tolerant greens? Okay, our next one. Now this one's crazy, guys. So the Chinese python snake bean. So unusual. Oh, okay, first of all, hold on. We got to look at this picture. Look at this. It's almost like the bean itself is the trellis. Look at this little guy. He's just rocking out. This bean is actually taller than he is. He's rocking the Crocs, and he's rocking some python beans. That's a boss if I've ever seen one in my life. Now, look at these things. They're crazy. So let me read this. Unusual and delicious gourd relative that's referred to and used as a bean in its native China. Fruit tastes like green beans, but even more delicious and tender. Now, this is the sentence that really stood out to me. We could give up a lot of other vegetables before we would not grow this queen of garden crops, known for its divine taste and snake-like beauty. So snake-like, in fact, that the beans terrify more than a few visitors to our garden each summer. I don't know if I would be terrified. I would be awestruck, but I would not be terrified by this bean. The snake bean is almost completely absent from U.S. markets. So, man, this is crazy. I'm so excited. This might be my number one most excited. And there's a ton of stuff I'm growing this year. So I'm really excited for this one. Sturdy trellis. So who knows? Hopefully I do well with this one this year. Next, Purple Lady Bok Choy. It's keeping in that theme with those Asian greens. I love bok choy, but I figured why not go purple, get a little bit more of the antioxidant density in this green rather than growing the standard green bok choy. Plus, as far as aesthetic beauty, I mean, you can't go wrong. This is a beautiful, beautiful looking variety of bok choy. So pretty simple, but I figured a little splash of color on the bok choy this year. Okay, next we're going to do strawberries. I've had a ton of requests from you guys to do more fruit and specifically strawberries. Now, I've learned a lot about strawberries from probably one of the best strawberry growers out there, my friend Khaled. He's known as the Plant Charmer on Instagram, and his business was basically built on creative strawberry cultivation. So I know as much as you could know without being him about how to grow these strawberries. So look, this British variety bears extra large, super scrumptious berries in abundance. Now here's what I really like. This compact plant will produce berries in the first year from seed. Fruits much larger than alpine varieties, which I really love those alpines. I like those white alpine strawberries. They're delicious and they taste almost candy-like. But I figured why not grow some classic strawberries, and you can't go wrong with the temptation. All right, next, just a sort of mix up of an onion. I have a lot of white onion varieties that I'm growing, and I just wanted to do something that was like a little bit of an oval-shaped red one, and I'm going to be doing a lot of pickling in 2019. So the fact that it's great for pickling really, really stood out to me. Next, this is just a very, I guess you could say boring, but I wanted a stringless bean. I wanted it to be a bush bean because I'm probably going to grow this in a vertical soil system. And it's stringless and it's got heavy yields. So I just wanted a bean that was a producer. I just wanted a workhorse bean that was going to do some damage for me in the garden this year. And that's what this one is, the Landreth Stringless bean. And it does, it has its own type of beauty, but it is more of a generic looking bean. Next, Marshmallow. So I just thought it would be fun to grow this. I've never grown it before, and apparently you can also eat the roots and the leaves as a vegetable, and it's been eaten as that in that method for centuries. So I did not even know that you could do this. This is a cool recipe, often fried with onions and garlic. So maybe we'll see me doing some of that this year. But I just figured it would be very cool to throw some marshmallow in my herb garden. Our next one. So as you can see, going on those radishes, I've grown a green radish before. In fact, let me show you the one I've grown before. I've grown, you know what? I don't know if it's on here anymore, but it was called the Chinese green luobo radish. This is the Chinese Shawo fruit radish. And what you can see is how green it is. It is so, so, so bright green. It almost doesn't look like a radish. You're like, what is that vegetable? But it is a radish. And now here's what's interesting. It says, the Chinese winters are notoriously harsh. These long cylindrical radishes sweeten up when exposed to frost and make a nutritious midwinter snack. So if you're in a colder area, especially maybe if your frosts don't end for a few months, maybe pick this radish up and experiment with it and see if it gets nice and sweet before that frost ends, because apparently it can handle that. Our next one. Okay, this is cool. I feel like I'm just becoming a predictable person now, because it's going to probably be of Asian origin and it's probably going to have some sort of color to it, right? So Chinese pink celery. Let's take a look at this. It looks insane. I mean, that looks like it's Technicolor. There looks like it's a UV light or something like that. Just a beautiful, beautiful celery. And it says it's an easy to grow variety to complete the nutritional rainbow. I feel like my rainbow is pink and purple this year, guys. So I don't know if I necessarily have a rainbow, but I'm really excited for that one. And we have two more. Okay, I had to do this. So when I was in Japan, there's a huge market over there for like perfect shaped fruits, and cantaloupes and melons are actually some of the most popular, but apparently these personal or like the pan size watermelons are really popular over there too. So this is one of the earliest maturing watermelons that you're ever going to get. It's perfect for short season gardeners. That's not really me, but I still am going to try it out. And it averages just 2 to 3 pounds. So if you have a short season garden and you want to squeeze in an actual fruit, then maybe this is perfect for you. So give it a try. All right, our final one. Now, I've grown these before, the Desiree Dwarf Blauwschokker garden peas. They're exceptionally productive, and they are quite tasty, and they're just very nice and sweet. You can eat them as a snow pea. These almost never make it indoors into the kitchen for me, so that's just my experience. I like to eat them just straight out in the garden when I'm doing tasks in the garden. So, guys, that's it. Again, it was all from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. That's my go-to seed producer right now for all these rare, unique varieties that you just aren't going to find anywhere else in my experience. So I'd love to know what you're growing. So comment down below. Let me know what you're growing for 2019. Or if you have any experience with some of these plants, I would love to know your pro tips, your epic tips on how to grow them. So kind of a different episode, but I figured I'm supposed to be on vacation right now, but I figured I wanted to record this video and do it for you guys. So I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the next year. Good luck in the garden and keep on growing.